Hello students! Today's lesson we're going to be focusing on accent tap patterns. We're going to be playing accents in single hand and then also accents that alternate between the hands. So let's start off. Let's review how we need to be holding the stick. We want to make sure that our thumb is in line with the stick. If you were to look at your thumb, you can't see the stick behind it. Then we want our first knuckle on the other side of the stick, directly opposite of our thumb. Make sure that the index finger doesn't wrap around the stick. Right now, we just want the first finger to be on the side of the stick. We're going to change that up sometimes, but we want to learn this as our general grip. The other three fingers, ring, pinky, and middle finger, simply wrap around the stick and they're going to point their tips into the palm. And again, the stick exits between the knuckle and the wrist with about an inch or a half inch hanging out the back. So let's go ahead and get started. Like we said, we're going to be working on accents and taps. So a common exercise, what we're going to do is basically structured off 8 on a hand. And we're going to play eighth notes in one hand for 4 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for 4 measures all in one hand. And some of those are going to be accented and some of them are going to be taps. And before we start learning the exercise, let's make sure we understand the different types of strokes we need to play. We need to be focusing on downstrokes, upstrokes, and taps. Again, that's downstrokes, upstrokes, and taps. So a downstroke starts high and ends low. What we're doing there is we're controlling the stick after it rebounds. And the way we're doing that is we're closing that space in the back of the hand. Keep your fingers wrapped around the stick, but don't squeeze. If there's no space between the stick and the palm and the fingers, like that, the stick will follow where the hand is. So to do a downstroke, we wrap the fingers around and we don't let the wrist rebound after we hit the drum. And we want that stick to end up about 1 to 3 inches off the drum pad. A good way to practice this is you're going to hold one stick low, and that's going to be your target, and have the other stick match it. So right now I have my left stick about 1 inch off the pad. I'm playing fully extended at about 12 inches and trying to rebound just to 1 inch. Another thing to focus on when we're doing this exercise and learning how to play downstrokes, don't play with too much force. Again, it's not force that gets us our sound. It's how fast we're accelerating the stick towards the drum. So if I play with too much force, it's going to end up kind of shaking. And I kind of feel that shock go all the way up my arm. But if I relax and just focus on accelerating at a good rate, it's a lot easier to play. It's more relaxed. And you're conserving some energy, so your stamina is going to be a lot longer, or you're going to have more stamina. Okay, then we have upstrokes. So we're going to just simply start low, accelerate as quickly as we can, even though if we're at starting at a very low height. And we're gonna force that rebound by pulling the stick out with our wrist. That's just a demonstration of an upstroke. We don't really need to practice upstrokes. The other stroke that we're gonna focus on is taps. Simply, a tap is like a full stroke in that it starts and stops at the same height, but it's just low. Even though we're achieving a soft sound, we want to still focus on accelerating the stick quite rapidly. You can see how quickly I'm trying to move the stick, even though I'm playing soft. Alright, so if we use those 3 strokes, we can play accent tap patterns. In this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to accent the downbeat 1 and follow that by 7 taps. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That would be the first measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 2, last time, and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The second measure, we're going to put accents on beat 1 and beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 2, play along, and ready, and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it. 2, ready, and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, let's put the first 2 measures together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Sorry, my mistake. Start off with 1 accent in the first measure, and then 2 accents on beats 1 and 3 in the second measure. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do that in the left hand this time. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, in the third measure, we're going to shorten those accents 1 note. So we're going to start playing in groups of 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One more time. 1, 2, play along and go. 1 and 2 and 1. Sorry. 1 and 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, again and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, last time and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to, in the fourth measure, we're going to shorten it down to groups of 2. So we're going to accent every downbeat. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 2 again and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, switch hands, go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, last time, go. And 1. Let's put the third and fourth measures together. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, left hand and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Alright, I'll demonstrate the whole exercise we're going to play four measures in one hand, switch over to the other hand, and play it one more time through. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that again. Let's get a metronome going. I'm setting mine to 80 and 4/4 with 8 notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, and ready, and go. And so that's the common or very basic single hand accent pattern exercise. Let's go ahead and stretch out some. So notice that as my other hand is not playing, I'm keeping it low to the drum so I can use that as a marker or a target to try to get those other taps to beat. Let's try this exercise again. Let's bump it up to 100. See how that sounds. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and go. And 2, again, go. And there's plenty of variations you can apply to this. You could take groupings of 3, set them against a grouping of 4, or groups of 2, and mismatch and switch them up. Make a lot of cool different patterns. This one's structured just to make sure you know exactly where those accents are coming, and to teach you about the differences of feel between a progression of accenting in groups of 4, in groups of 3, and in groups of 2. So, we're going to take our metronome back down to 80 and start working on hand-to-hand or alternating accent patterns. We're going to structure this like stick control, where we're going to start off with a check pattern. A check pattern, one more time, is a full bar of 16th notes played evenly between the hands, and this is simply just to check that you're playing correctly. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, one more time and go. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. So, after that check pattern, we're going to start dropping in single accents. The first pattern is going to be accents on the downbeat. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Notice how the left hand is just tapping, and the right hand is going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So let's put that with a check pattern. Metronome is at 80. 1 and 2 and ready and a go. And 2, again and go. One more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, we're going to put the accent in the second pattern on the second 16th note. That's going to be the E. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, again, and go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. This is going to feel a little weird because it's syncopated. The more syncopated the note is, the more jarring or it feels like you have to have some kind of coordination or knowledge not to accent the downbeat and accent something else, but still feel the downbeat very strongly. Make sure that you're always being very cognizant and feeling that downbeat really solid, even though you're not accenting it. One more time. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2. Last time and go. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Put that with metronome. Third pattern, we're going to accent the third 16th note. That is the and. That's back in the right hand. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, again and go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. At the check pattern, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2, and last time, go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. With the metronome. Ready, go. Hang on. 1, 2. Get set. 1, 2, ready, and go. And. Two, again, go. All right, last one, fourth pattern, we're going to accent the fourth 16th note. That's the 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Now this one again is more syncopated like the E. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. We still want to make sure that we know exactly where the downbeat is and we're feeling that pulse very strongly, even though we're accenting a note that's not on the downbeat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Don't let those accents kind of drift towards the downbeat one way or the other. Try to make sure that the accent on the stays on the and the other hand comes in on the tap on the downbeat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 a 1. Let's play that with the check pattern and the metronome. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, again, go. Two, last time, go. Okay. Now, let's just put it all together. We're going to have a check pattern, accents on the downbeat, check pattern, accents on the E, check pattern, accents on and, check pattern, accents on the All 8 measures played in a row. Here we go. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 2, again, go. My fault. 1, 2, ready, go. I made another mistake there on the third pattern. Let's do it again. I'm going to count downbeats during the check pattern and all 16ths during the accent pattern. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. All right. The next thing we're going to do is start playing 2 accents right back to back. So we're going to structure this the same way. Check pattern, accents, pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern. So 4 lines, 2 measures each. The first pattern, we're going to accent 1 and E, so the first 2 16th notes of the group. Second pattern, we're going to accent the middle 2 16th note patterns. That's the E and the and. Third, we're going to accent and the last 2. And then the last pattern, we're going to accent 1. That's the outside of the 16 note pattern. So first pattern, we have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, again and go. E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, again and a go. E and a 1 E. Second pattern, accent the 2 in the middle, the E and the and. 1, 2, ready and a go. E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a ready and a go. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. Last time, go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Now third pattern, accent the and the last 2 of the 16 note grouping. 1 and 2 and a ready and a go. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Sorry, just the accent pattern. 1 and 2 and a ready and a go. E and a 1 E and a 2 E. 2, ready and go. And 2, last time. E and a go. E and a. Now, last pattern, we're going to accent the and the downbeat. Ready and a go. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a ready and a go. E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a last time a go. And so structure this exercise the same as we did the previous one. Check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern. Turn our metronome on. We'll stay at 80 beats per minute. Get set. 1, 1, 2, ready, go. Check pattern. 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. Again and go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. One more time without counting. And 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so practice this one at also varying speeds. Start at 80, I think that's a good spot. If you're having a little bit of trouble timing those downstrokes and upstrokes, slow it down to 60. We shouldn't really be practicing this exercise slower than 60. Take it up to 100 and see if you can start to get it up from 100 to 110 to 120, maybe 130. Let's now move on. We're going to start accenting 16th notes in groups of 3. So group of 3, we're going to accent and then follow that with 2 taps. And that's going to switch hand to hand. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So if we start an accent on beat 1 and then play just groups of 3, we'll end up playing across the rhythm. So we'll go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Since the 16th notes are 4 notes per beat, we think of that as like the 16th note group, the very common 16th note group. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Those groups of 4 are going to stay there and be aligned with the beat, but our accent pattern, being groups of 3, is going to cross against that. So we're going to end up having 4 groups of 3 that go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, and it lines back up with a downbeat of 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. So anytime you have 4 groups of 3, wherever you start that first one, it's going to take 3 more beats for that to line up again wherever it started. So if we were to start on beat 1, 3 beats from beat 1 is beat 4, we'll line up on that again. If we start on the E of beat 1, it'll take 3 beats and we'll line up again on the E of beat 4, so on and so on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to play groups of 3, and those accents are going to start on beat 1 in the first pattern, the E in the second pattern, the and in the third pattern, and the in the fourth pattern. Now, the first one and last one are sort of similar because the group of 3, 1 E and starts on beat 1, and there's also an accent on the But I want you to focus on how in the last pattern, we're not accenting beat 1, and we're starting the accents on the of beat 1, and it's not lining up until the of 4 at the very end. So it's similar, but a little bit different. They're just kind of shifted a little bit apart from each other. So we're going to structure this one the same way as we did previous. Check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern. Metronome still at 80. 1, 2, ready, and go. In. Alright, this time I'm going to count. I'll count downbeats during the check pattern and all the 16 notes during the accent pattern. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready and go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E, 4 E and a 1. Alright, I'm going to start that again. 1, 2, ready and a go. 1 E and 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Alright, let's take the last pattern. I messed that one up. 3, 4, 1, 2, ready and go. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. Alright. Try this whole thing again. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a Counting and playing is a task. It's a very good skill to develop, but it is a task. There's a lot to keep track of. It's almost like counting and using your mouth while you're playing is like an extra limb to coordinate with your hands and your feet. All right. This is a little frustrating. Let's try it again. Here we go. Shake it out. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2. All right. Okay. Now we're gonna make it even more complicated. We're gonna move on to groups of 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're not gonna play just 5. We're gonna add 2 and 3 together to get like 2 subgroups that total into 5. We're gonna play that. We're gonna structure this one as 2 plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. So if we're to play 4 groups of this, that lines up with 5 groups of 16th notes, or 5 beats of 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 1. But we're going to stay in 4/4, and we're going to be able to complete 3 groups of 5, because in a measure of 4/4, a whole measure of 4/4, there are 16 16th notes, and 3 groups of 5 gets us 15. So we're going to basically feel this as a group of 5, followed by a group of 5, followed by a group of 6. And that might also feel like a 6-5-5 or a 5-6-5, depending on where we arrange these accents. But for now, this example is just going to be 2 plus 3. You can also do 3 plus 2, which is an inverted way to feel the group 5. But for now, let's just focus on 2 plus 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. So, the first pattern, if we start the accent on beat 1, our accents are going to fall on 1 and, then the E of 2 and 3, 1 E and a to E and sorry, 1 E and a to E and 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Yeah, there we go. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So that's 1 and E and 4. 1 and E and 4. We'll structure this the same way, put a check pattern in front of that, and then play the accent pattern. The next pattern, if we start on the E, is going to go E and 3 E. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. If we start on the and, it's going to go and 2 E, 4 and. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Then we'll push it to the That'll be E, 3 and E 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So these are kind of trippy. Structure that again the same way. It's check pattern, accent pattern, check pattern, accent pattern, so on and so on. Okay, I'm gonna hope I get this right. Let's see if we get a good take. Set the metronome still at 80. Again, I'll count downbeats in the check pattern and all the 16th notes in the accent pattern. Again, we're doing groups of 5 subdivided into 2 plus 3. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2. Repeat. Ready and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay. Pretty difficult. We're getting pretty complex in these. All right, so that is the last of the exercises for accents taps. I want to start getting into some real world examples. Plain and simple, we're going to take the simplest approach to this. If we're playing 16th notes, we're just going to take an accent on beat 1. Just loop that over and over. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. And a lot of times this will be played as like a measure fill with a crescendo to it, or you can even put this, there's a couple of examples I can think of. One specifically that happens over like 8 or 16 bars. I'm not exactly sure how long it is, but it is a long phrase. That is Sunday Morning by No Doubt. So the bass starts off boom ba da 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 do 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 do. I think it plays twice, but your cue to come in is the guitar does a little pickup and 1, So just listen for that guitar chime, and that cues you in. You start really soft, like the snare drum's off way in the distance. We're just gonna accent on 1. And notice the accent while we're playing soft is relative to the notes, how soft we're playing. So if we're playing piano or pianissimo, that accent is piano or pianissimo plus, just it's within the context of how soft we're playing. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and then it gets into the song. Now, as we're crescendoing, those accents start to separate further from the other taps. Where there's a huge difference between the accents and the taps at the very end there. Very simple. All right, the other accent pattern I want to go over that's in a real world context, is what's referred to as the train beat. This occurs in a lot of country music. A lot of songs about trains, so we gotta have a train beat. Here we go. We're gonna have the right hand accent all the upbeats. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Keep it going. Now the left hand is going to accent every other E. So the first one is not just a tap. The second one is an accent. 1 and 2 E N, 1 and 2 E N, 1 and 2 E N, 1 and 2 E N. All right, a little bit faster. You'll hear Folsom Prison, Working Man Blues, Orange Blossom Special. What are some other train beat songs? This will go good with White Freight Liner. I'm going blank on the other train beat songs right now. But basically those all function the same way. So let's speed it up a little bit. Let's take Working Man. Bum 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 da dun 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 dun. If you want to swing it a little, that's cool too. Now, there's a couple of extra variations for accent patterns that happen in there. What we can also do is accents in between the ands, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. We'll accent the E following the and the before the, or sorry, the after the first and the E before the next and. 1 and. This happens in Folsom Prison. Let's see. Rolling down Bend, I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on. On the San Antonio. If I could be from this prison, somewhere farther down the line. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on. Like that. And then also a lot of times there's groups of 3 that start on the first and that you play. 1 and 2 E N, 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 1. So 1. variations like that. Now, the other accent pattern I want to go over is something I hear a lot in pop punk. This is a group of 6. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. So 1, a 2 and a da 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 da. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. So an accent on 1. The group of 3 following that are the and of 2. 1 E and 1 E, 1 and 2 and 1 E and 1 and 2 and. Different ways of counting it. Then those 2 accents right back to back, and then an accent tap to get you back. If we set that in a group of 4, it'll sound like that. We'll have 6, 6, and 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Set it over 2 4/4 bars, so it'll go 6, 6, 6, 6, 4, and 4. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. Now, a typical thing you'll do is groups of 6 in the first measure play over the bar line. So 6, 6, 6. That takes us to the and of 1 in the next measure. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and. And then from that and on 1, start playing groups of 3. And a 2 E and a 3 E and then all accents on 4 E and a. And a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Put it all together. 6, 6, 6, 3, 3, 3, single, 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 single. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3. Notice it's not until we're playing all accents at the very end there that we're actually letting some space go in the back of their hands. Everything else is a controlled stroke. Okay, so those are a few real-world examples that you have. Make sure that you're replaying parts of this video where we have examples of the exercises and play along with them. Once you fully understand them, go ahead and just rep them on your own with the metronome. And I will see you in the next video.